World. Later in the program, a response from the US government to this week's election in Honduras. Hollywood actress Juliette Lewis, and now singer as well. And we ask, are referendums too democratic? But first, Pakistan. This week, President Obama made his long-awaited announcement of the troop surge for neighbouring Afghanistan. From early next year, pretty slowly, an extra 30,000 US troops will join the 70,000 already in Afghanistan fighting the Taliban. So there was much to talk about when I met with Yousuf Raza Gillani in London. He was a member of the Pakistan People's Party back in 1988. He was imprisoned for almost 6 years by President Musharraf in the last decade, and here he is now. Prime Minister, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
The announcement from President Obama and so on, and the thought that he is giving 18 months to turn things around in Afghanistan and so on. And in fact, I guess it's less if they're not going to get there till July and they're going to start to leave the following July. For some of them, it'll be 12 months. But I mean, is there time, do you think, for him and yourselves as great allies and so on, to do the job in that time, to win that war in that period?
In fact, we are fighting this war because we personally feel that is in the interest of the whole world. But I personally feel military action are not the solutions for the problems. But we have to have some exit policy. And for exit policy, we have to do more social, cultural, political work in those areas. We have to empower the people, and we have to reconstruct and develop those areas. And therefore, what President Obama has said, I totally agree that sooner or later, the people of that country, they have to be empowered. I don't know what is the time frame, but there should be some exit policy.
And in fact, some people have said that there's a difficult thing in terms of two allies with some differing interests, but that if the more successful the American surge is in Afghanistan, the more danger there is that there will be more Taliban fleeing across the border and ending up as your responsibility, as a problem for you, if they're very successful with the policy.
In fact, we can't afford losing because it is in the interest of Pakistan for a stable Afghanistan. We want that Afghanistan should be stable because we are already having 3.5 million refugees from Afghanistan. And when there is a stability in Afghanistan, they'll go back to their own country with dignity, respect, and honor. Therefore, we are working very carefully, and we want to see whether, as you have mentioned, what impact, what implications would be on Pakistan. We are getting further information and the details of this plan.
And in fact, when I talked to President Zardari about 6 months ago about whether the Taliban and insurgent groups in Pakistan could ever threaten Pakistan, could seize power in Pakistan, and he started to reply by saying, well, it's a threat. But has that threat now gone away in the sense, because you've done well in Swat and South Waziristan and so on, is there still a danger that the Taliban could seize power in Pakistan?
Certainly not. That's out of question. And I don't think that even they can even think of taking over Pakistan. Pakistan is a country. It's not some vegetable that will come and take it. Therefore, it is in very safe hands. And our armed forces are loyal and highly professional. They are defending the boundaries of Pakistan. And one thing I can tell you that there is absolutely no danger, but at the same time, we want greater cooperation with the U.S. in the defense and intelligence so that we can jointly act against the militants.
Against militants in that way. And of course, President Zardari has handed the power over the nuclear button, a nuclear trigger, from the presidency to the prime ministership and so on. Is that an awesome responsibility?
In fact, we are moving in the right directions according to the manifesto of Pakistan People's Party. That is the manifesto which was given by Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto. And that manifesto was that you have to empower the parliament. And we are exactly moving in the right directions according to the vision of Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto. And that this ordinance was promulgated by the former dictator, Mr. General Musharraf. And that ordinance has exhausted on the 28th of this last month. And therefore, we had to re-promulgate the ordinance. And because the president himself is committed on the manifesto of the PPP, and he has on the floor of the House said twice that I want to undo the amendments in the Constitution made by the former dictator. Therefore, this is a step forward of moving in that direction.
You had this dispute or this criticism from Gordon Brown about not finding Osama bin Laden and his deputy and so on, failing to find them, and which I must say seemed a bit unfair to me because Britain hasn't found them either. But still, I mean, did you put him right on that when you met with him?
Yes, I did. We discussed today with him, and then we had a joint press conference. And I have told him, and I've said that United States and UK, if they give any credible or actionable information to Pakistan, we are ready to act on it.
But you don't believe that, for instance, Osama bin Laden is in Pakistan?
No, I already contradicted.
And do you think we'll find in some years' time, do you think it's possible that Osama bin Laden is in fact dead and has been dead for 3 years?
I don't know.
Nobody knows, except Mrs. bin Laden, I suppose. But do you feel confident that you will defeat the Taliban in Pakistan, and that America will defeat the Taliban and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan? Do you think those victories, you said you can't afford to lose, do you think both of those victories will come?
I can tell you that, as I mentioned in the beginning, that we can't win any war without the support of the masses. Mm. And if you have to win a war, then there should be a public opinion in your favor. In Pakistan, the whole nation is behind the military action in Pakistan. And the whole nation and the entire leadership of the country, they're supporting the military action. Therefore, I'm confident that we are winning. And if we have to win in Afghanistan, that's their internal matter. But that would be my message to United States, would be to win the hearts and minds of the people.
We mentioned earlier on the fact that President Zardari has moved the nuclear responsibility to you, to the Prime Minister and so on. What about the 17th Amendment, which gives the President the power to dissolve Parliament and sack the Prime Minister? He was going to repeal that, but he hasn't done it yet. He will do it, will he?
In fact, this is a blue litmus test and the indication that we are moving in the right direction to strengthen the Parliament, that when the National Command and Control Authority has been given to the Prime Minister, the rest of the power balance of the 17th Amendment and 58(2)(b is also the part of a manifesto, and the President Zardari has already been committed on the floor of the House that he'll pass on to the Prime Minister, and soon this would happen.
Is he in some danger or jeopardy with the ending of the period of amnesty in terms of the law and corruption and so on, and the fact that period has come to an end? Does it mean that lots of the people who were accused will now be accused or tried again?
In fact, these are the old cases, and the President Zardari has already suffered more than 8 years in jail, and these are not the new cases. These are the same old cases, and he has indemnity. He has some facilities as a president. There can't be a case against him. Therefore, I don't personally feel that he's in danger.
Not in danger. So it won't be a case of you serving a president who is up on corruption charges. You don't think that will happen?
These are the charges which was prior to becoming president, and they're for the last 10 to 14 years.
There were some reports that India might want to get involved or help in Afghanistan. Would you welcome that?
In fact, we have discussed today with Prime Minister Brown, and we want that there should be a peace in the region, and there should be stability in the region, and rather the friends of democratic Pakistan should prevail on India for resumption of composite dialogue with Pakistan, and we want that all core issues to be settled, so that our focus should be on to fight against terrorism, and our focus should not be on the eastern border.
Do you think of India as a rival, not an ally, I suppose, a rival or an enemy? How do you think of India?
In fact, we want to maintain excellent relations with our neighbors, whether it is Afghanistan, whether it is China, whether it is Iran, whether it is India, and we had good interactions with Dr. Manmohan Singh. He is a senior politician, and we had met him, and he wants to resolve all issues between Pakistan and India. But with the Mumbai incident, there is a lot of pressure, and we are very serious and I assure you that we are going to take actions against those who have been identified as terrorists and involved in Mumbai incident, and we have already registered cases against 7 persons. We also want that the world should play an extremely important role in stabilizing the region by settling all the issues between India and Pakistan, so that our common enemy of India and Pakistan are the terrorists, so that if we are not talking to each other, the beneficiary are the terrorists. So they should not be benefited because of our not resumption of composite dialogue.
That's very clear. That's very clear. Yeah. Tell me something in terms of the future and so on. I mean, can we look to a period of peace and stability, do you think, in your part of the world? Or, for instance, is there still going to be wars and rumours of wars and terrorists in 10 years' time?
I think the way we are moving and the resolve we have and the public support we have at the moment, maybe we don't have this in future. Therefore, we should avail this opportunity and combat terrorism and extremism. It is in the best interest of the world, and I hope we will be able to do that.
And talking of the future, Prime Minister, we're very aware, obviously, that the army is a very powerful force, and in India and so on, and in Pakistan, and in fact, army rule has taken place a lot since in the last 50 years. Do you think it will ever happen again?
In fact, there had been in the past military takeover, but at this time the army chief is highly professional and pro-democracy,
That's what
And
General
he had supported, even during General Musharraf's time, the democracy and the parliamentary form of government, instead of supporting those who had been ruling in the past.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.
Very much.
Thank you.
Our thanks to the Prime Minister. Now, can you ever have too much democracy? Find out after this break.